for saving Kasana's life. Lin Tian stays humble and says it was nothing special. Then they hear screams from another cage. Lin Tian finds goblins panicking over an elf begging for help because she had just given birth. Something feels off. With his dagger in hand and the matriarch beside him, Lin Tian hurries to the cage where the goblins are trying to take the elf by force and orders them to stop. He warns them to wait until the females recover completely or they'll face consequences. He also orders that from then on, each elf will get an extra portion of fruit on top of the usual. Stunned, the matriarch says he's different from ordinary goblins. Lin Tian tells her the better they behave, the better the treatment will be. Again, Lin Tian uses the simulation to see what his revenge plan looks like after that. It says that after a lot of effort he wins over the elf tribe, gets all the elf women pregnant, and they give birth to goblins with stronger attributes. As the village numbers grow, Lin Tian decides it's time to get revenge on Loader and the others. He sneaks into Brighttown alone and finds the group. After the simulations, the system gives him 3 options, each with a different score tied to its ending. Lin Tian wonders if he really found them, and remembers his current strength is basically the same as Loader's, so he can't underestimate Loader's companions. Believing his attributes are enough to defeat the Lord, Lin Tian chooses option 1, going alone against them. The system says Lin Tian finds Loader, and nearly finishes him off, but then the captain's master appears. The human sword saint saves the Lord. Lin Tian gets taken out by the one who saved his enemy, and afterward the group returns to the capital, and is never seen again. Against the sword saint, there's no chance to escape. Lin Tian will have to be more careful from then on. Lin Tian is stunned by what the simulation shows, trying to understand why someone that powerful would show up in such a small place. He looks at the matriarch and becomes even more certain he needs to hurry and max out his strength. He doesn't see another way, so he decides to act. Lin Tian tells Lua he needs to go into human territory for a few days, and she'll be in charge of the tribe. The queen worries he'll get taken out. Lin Tian tells the matriarch she knows about his feud with humans, and unexpectedly the elf's mother says she can cast a stealth spell on him. Satisfied, Lin Tian tells her that's exactly what he was hoping she'd say, excited by the sudden help. He tells the matriarch he didn't expect her to care about his safety. She says she's only afraid that if he dies, the goblins will be left without a leader. Thinking of her people, the queen reminds him all her children are in that village, and if he comes back alive, everyone will be safe. Lua and the matriarch promise they'll take good care of the tribe while he's gone, as Lin Tian heads toward his goal. Now in Brighttown, people walk, soldiers move through the streets in calm, steady patrols. Looks like a full security team has the area locked down. Seeing that many troops, Lin Tian can't help wondering if the Sword Saint has already arrived, but he's been gathering info all day, and he hasn't heard a single word about her. Still, all this patrolling feels off. Then Lin Tian notices a crowd heading the same way. He follows and finds people gathered around a board showing the adventurer team rankings in Bright City. Lauser sits at the top. Lin Tian narrows his eyes. Did Lauser get stronger just by taking first place? Either way, Lin Tian knows he can't waste time. If he doesn't find more clues soon, his revenge plan falls apart. As he passes a tavern, he hears someone loudly promising drinks on his tab, saying they'll drink until they can't take it anymore. Lin Tian freezes. He knows that voice. Finally, he steps inside and sees Lauser drinking like he doesn't have a care in the world. One of Lauser's companions starts praising him, going on about how Loader and Ifreya saved him from the 4-armed monkey, and the girl piles on talking about how amazing their captain is. Then a member of the Bashi team cuts in, saying it's ridiculous to brag over something that small, like a weak little monster. Lauser's companion snaps, furious, and tells him to get lost and stop talking nonsense. The Bashi member fires back like a kid, saying even if there's some hero team, he'll still beat him up. The tavern owner finally loses patience. He says the dragons have entered mating season and have been snatching cattle, and if these guys are as strong as they claim, they should go stop them. That grabs Lin Tian's attention as he drinks quietly. The owner keeps going. If the evil dragons attack Bright City and the capital doesn't send reinforcements in time, the adventurers won't be able to repel the horde. Everyone's about to face the darkness. Lauder stands, confident. He says there's nothing to fear because he called his master, the Sword Saint. Together they'll join forces against the dragons and defeat them. The tavern goes silent. The warriors stare, stunned that Lauder can summon someone that powerful. Then the soldiers erupt, praising Lauder, saying that if they succeed, he'll be named the hero of Bright City. Lauder raises his voice and says he'll buy drinks for everyone as a pre-celebration for the Sword Saint's arrival and for wiping out the dragons. Lauder Tan takes it as his opening. If beasts are coming to the city, he can use that chaos to strike. He turns and leaves. Lauder notices him heading out even after the offer of free drinks. He calls out, asking if Lauder Tan isn't going to stay and drink. Lauder Tan doesn't even pause. No, cold and direct. He tells Lauder there will be more chances in the future. Lauder frowns, confused. Who turns down free drinks? Bright City is decorated from end to end, waiting for the Sword Saint's arrival. Soon, Lauder approaches his master, who's meditating in a temple. He reports that the evil dragon's hovering distance is getting closer and closer, and they'll probably attack the city soon. At his words, his master grips her weapon and rises. The Sword Saint asks how the task she gave him is going. Lauder answers that the 10 dragon-hunting ballistas were built according to her plans. She warns him that if anything goes wrong, his reputation will be on the line. As they leave the temple, they run into a crowd. People can't believe they're standing before someone so majestic and powerful. Thinking ahead, the Sword Saint tells Lauder this is a special moment. She asks why everyone is just standing around and orders them to prepare for battle. And right on cue, something approaches Bright City. A massive flying beast appears, already clutching a resident in its claws as the streets explode into panic. The Sword Saint's eyes sharpen. That's a scout dragon. She says when it shows up, the full dragon horde follows soon after. She orders Lauder to take his companions and follow her to the walls. Elsewhere, a goblin rushes to Lin Tian and tells him a dragon has arrived in the city. The little monster says he went to check, and there are soldiers crowd the wall, asking what they should do. Cold and calculating, Lin Tian says it's time to attack. The enemy is almost here, so for now, they wait. Like a true strategist, our protagonist, along with his high-level goblins, decides to enjoy the show. Several dragons fly straight toward the shining city, but a beam of light suddenly slams into one of the flying beasts, right in the wing. Lauder and Ifreya stare, shocked by what those weapons can do. The Sword Saint, after striking the dragon and demonstrating the crossbow, asks a soldier if he understood how to use it. The soldiers ready themselves and fire with the weapons the master provided. The flying beasts start dropping one by one, pierced by the crossbows. The warriors cheer at how effective the weapons are against dragons, but then something else draws every eye. Something terrifyingly powerful approaches the shining city. People collapse, clutching their heads, saying it hurts. Lauder and Ifreya go pale, like they already know what monster is coming. Then the golden-purple mother dragon appears. The soldiers freeze, muttering that those weapons won't be enough to defeat her. Eyes locked on the city, the beast looks furious. The mother of dragons gathers herself and prepares a devastating attack, then blasts flames at the wall. The soldiers with the dragon-killing crossbows break and run, shouting that the city is going to fall. But something unexpected happens. A powerful magic circle appears, and someone tells them not to panic. The saint steps forward and declares she'll fight the mother dragon herself, ordering everyone else to keep defending the city. The master raises her sword and creates a huge protective field. The barrier doesn't just block the mother dragon's attack, it also stops the other beasts from striking the wall. From the top of a mountain, Lin Tian watches, cautious, waiting for the right moment. He isn't surprised the saint can defend the city from the mother dragon's flames, not with her stats. Still, he admires the insane power the massive beast showed, appearing and attacking immediately. Lin Tian checks the Sword Saint's impressive stats, and understands why she erased the mother dragon's attack without trouble. He points out that Lauder's master is seriously powerful, and he feels more at ease knowing he won't need to fight her for his revenge. He says the mother dragon is weaker than the saint, but makes up for it with endurance. Even if the master can land hits with her sword, she won't defeat the beast easily. With the saint tied up fighting the mother dragon, Lin Tian calls it the golden chance he's been waiting for. Determined, he says the moment to get revenge on the human race has finally arrived, and orders the goblins to follow the plan and enter the city. While the capital is being invaded by dragons, no one realizes another danger is closing in. Lauder says the flying beasts are hard to deal with, but he has to thank his master's teachings. Thanks to his teacher, the captain says he's now a dragon slayer. Then, to Lauder's surprise, a resident sprints up in a panic, screaming that goblins are invading the city. We see the captain's team still fighting dragons, and Lauder insists the little monsters are dumb, but he doesn't believe they're stupid enough to attack the capital. Then another resident comes running, with several goblins right behind her. Seeing the little monsters for himself, the captain realizes he's in trouble. Like a true hero, Lauder orders his companions to handle the remaining dragons, while he and Ifreya take out the goblins. A little monster spots the capital's heroes and bolts. Furious, Lauder yells for them not to run, but the goblins plan that escape. And just like that, Lauder and Ifreya are captured by the little monsters, exactly as Lin Tian intended. The captain's companions shout that they're coming to save him, but they can't get close with so many goblins surrounding them. Then the vengeful Lin Tian appears without the warriors noticing. Right in the middle of the fight, Lauder tries to warn them about the danger behind them, but before the warriors can even defend themselves, Lin Tian takes two of them out easily with his super sharp dagger. At that moment, Lauder and the Holy Maiden are desperate when they seeing a goblin take down their companions with that kind of agility. Our boy strolls up and sarcastically mocks the two prisoners, saying he can't believe they got captured so easily. Brave and furious at his warriors getting taken out, Lauder yells that he's going to finish off all the filthy goblins. Lin Tian kicks the captain and tells him to look around and stop talking nonsense. Then our boy orders the little monsters to take Lauder and Ifreya through the sewers and out of the city, while the rest follow him to the walls to wipe out the beast riders. In the middle of a battle against the Dragon Mother, the Sword Saint hears cries for help from the capital and can't believe the goblins chose that moment to attack. Next, that huge shadowy beast mocks Lauder's master, saying they're in trouble. Right then, the Dragon Mother and the Sword Saint lock into a relentless fight, showing her power and mocking the Queen of Beasts. Lauder's master asks if she's struggling, then slams her with massive force and puts her in a tight spot. Taking control, the Saint says the Dragon Mother is already basically defeated, and wonders if the warriors managed to deal with the dragons and the goblins. Then a huge explosion goes off on the wall. The chaos in the city pulls the Saint's attention, and the Dragon Mother, who was almost going down, says the little monsters showed up at the perfect time. Realizing the Shining City savior is distracted, the Dragon Queen escapes fast. While fleeing, the Mother of Beasts tells the saint that when she recovers she won't forgive her, leaving the powerful warrior furious that she let that massive beast get away. Full of rage at not finishing the Dragon Queen, the Shining City's savior swears that sooner or later she'll go to Dragon Island and finish them all. After the chaos in the city finally ends, the saint returns to the ground, irritated to see that Loder and his group couldn't even wipe out simple goblins. One of the warriors tells the city's savior that the captain and Ephraia were captured by the little monsters. The sword saint can't believe it. The warrior says those goblins weren't normal. Right then, a member of the captain's group tells the saint the little monsters were as strong as the great races, and not even Loder could beat them. Furious and thinking about getting her warriors back, the Shining City's savior says she'll go to the enchanted forest and exterminate all the goblins. But a resident grabs the saint's arm, begging her to stay in the city, because if the dragons or the little monsters come back, they'll be finished. Then everyone starts begging the savior to stay, saying they're citizens of the temple and the empire and should be protected by her too. In that moment, the sword saint agrees she should protect them instead of chasing a member of the hero's party, because that's her real responsibility. Back in the goblin village, everyone celebrates when they see the tribe leader has returned. The tribe's little monsters are stunned to see Lin Tian came back with human prisoners. Without mercy, the holy maiden is thrown to the ground. One of Lin Tian's soldiers orders the prisoners not to cause trouble. Loder is surprised to see the goblins captured several elves. Ephraia says she believes there's a hero in that tribe. Loder asks if she's recovered yet, and she answers that the poison in her body is strong but her sacred constitution will soon be complete. Hearing her talk about her powers, Lin Tian sneaks up and mocks her, saying he can't believe she recovered so fast. The girl panics, asking how he knows her name and what his intentions are in capturing them. With a dark look, Lin Tian steps closer to the holy maiden. Our protagonist, hatred burning in his heart, digs his claws into the girl's thigh. Ephraia screams in desperation from the pain while Loder can only watch, unable to help her. The captain yells for Lin Tian to stop torturing his companion, but for shouting at the goblin tribe leader, brave Loder gets hit by one of the little monsters. Furious at Lin Tian, the captain asks if he understands the consequences of capturing them, since the sword saint will find them and wipe them out. Confident, our boy says Loder's master will be his prey too. He's just waiting for the right moment, and even if she tries to look for them, she'll never find them. Continuing with his plans, Lin Tian tells the goblin Kaoang that he'll be responsible for everyone of the second generation, and orders them to go into the forest to hunt some monsters. Knowing sure he'd be hunted by humans, our boy decides to speed up his evolution and run a questionnaire. With Loge stepping on his chest, Lin Tian asks the captain if he likes capturing goblins and torturing them in secret, like they did to him in another life. Loge snaps like he has no idea what the kid's talking about. Lin Tian gets annoyed, says the captain's answering way too slowly, and decides to take action. With hate burning in his heart, our boy cuts off his enemy's ear. Lojka curses, yelling that it hurts like hell. Fueled by rage, the captain tells Lin Tian everything they do is to protect the human race, and that his duty is to wipe out goblins, cursed creatures. Sarcastically, the kid mocks Loder's claims, saying they probably hunt the little monsters to boost the hero's party stats. Like he knows them inside out, Lin Tian says it's easier to finish off prisoners along with the monsters than to save them, and asks how many humans have already died because of that justice. Loder looks genuinely shocked by the accusation. Ephraia, already worn out, can't believe it either, wondering how a simple goblin knows so much about what they do. Consumed by hatred, Lin Tian tells them both that unlike them, he doesn't need to pretend. Since he's an evil creature, he's going to teach his enemies a lesson. With barely any strength left, Ephraia asks Loder to save her. Then the girl starts begging for mercy. Loder panics when he sees his companion being tortured. Lin Tian tells the holy maiden he's going to throw her own words back at her. The lesson is only beginning, so she better hold on tight. Next, our protagonist grabs the prisoner by the neck and says he wants her captain to watch what's going to be done to her. Darkly, Lin Tian hands Ephraia over to the goblins and says he wants to see how much she can take after everyone tortures her. Loder can't believe it. He's really going to be forced to watch his companions suffer, unable to help. The little monsters start closing in on the holy maiden, just like their leader ordered. One goblin walks up and tells another it's his turn to stand guard over the prisoner. The guard says Lin Tian ordered them to keep her alive. We see how weak Ephraia has gotten after all that torture, and the guard says she's still fine, just like ordered. Loder tells his companion to hang in there. The girl, barely holding on, tells the captain not to worry because she isn't suffering. The guard shuts the prisoner down, saying he has no right to speak, and steps on his head. Meanwhile, the elf queen, caring for her baby, asks her daughter if Lin Tian really holds a grudge against humans. The girl stresses they're in trouble. Hearing her mother's doubts, Lua shows up and says the boy already mentioned he would take revenge on humans, so yes, he probably does hate them. Starstruck by Lin Tian, the elf queen points out how determined he is, how he never lets an insult go unanswered, and that's why he's the most special goblin she's ever seen. The elf makes an embarrassed face, thinking that even in that area he's powerful. It feels weird to her, like she wants to be even more won over by him. Meanwhile, somewhere else, a goblin reports to the MC that the second-generation elves who went out hunting have returned. They came back early, with a bunch of prey on their backs. The frantic goblin tells the boss they're back, and he's level 33, with stats so developed they almost match the MC's. He's impressed, The MC asks why they came back so early. Was the hunt really that successful? The goblin says they killed all the monsters nearby and could only go west in the forest, but they found big goblins massacring other tribes. The MC asks which western tribe was being slaughtered by the big goblins. Another goblin says it was the Bloodfang tribe. When they split into teams to look for monsters, they found several tribes with their mark. The MC thinks it's interesting they're all big goblins. If they captured their leader, it would be perfect for the resistance plan against the humans. The captured captain starts laughing, calling them fools. They still dared to dream? The knights would crush them quickly. The MC turns and says if he hadn't opened his mouth, he wouldn't even remember the human existed. The goblins move toward the captain, but the MC says there was still another human there. The captain asks desperately what they were planning. A goblin grabs the human captain by the mouth, saying it's finally his turn, and that his skin is way too soft, driving the captain crazy. Evelia stays silent, forced to watch, and a few hours later, the captain is exhausted, face down, completely passed out. Night falls. A goblin asks Lin Tian if they're going to attack the big goblin's tribe. He confirms they are, and that they'll capture their leader too. He's even thought of a new name for the tribe, Mad Sky Tribe. The goblins start yelling and celebrating, calling him powerful. The tribe has a name now, and they chant it non-stop. An elf says they must be strong, defeating so many tribes, but the protagonist says there's no need to worry. He's confident. He still has an ace up his sleeve he hasn't used. And with that, we see Evelia tied up and almost completely naked. The next day, the protagonist watches from a spot with a perfect view. It's time to see their power. He's aiming at the Bloodfang tribe in the enchanted forest. There are a lot of big goblins, but he thinks they can handle it. He sees the leader approaching and notices the goblins look terrified. That's impressive. The leader of the Bloodfang tribe is a goblin hero. The MC sizes him up. He doesn't seem that strong. With a combat power of 900, a dozen goblins would be enough, but capturing him alive will be hard. Paralyzing poison won't do much to a big guy like that, so he needs another solution. If he can use the binding magic Evelia used on him, that should work. He decides to go see her. Back at the Mad Sky Tribe, a goblin approaches Lin Tian and says he did what he ordered. The human is almost finished. The MC congratulates him on the good work. The girl begs to be put out of her misery, saying she'll redeem herself before the Lord. The MC wipes her wounds with a warm cloth. She asks who it is, still not looking back. When she turns and sees the protagonist, she starts screaming for him not to come closer, shaking. She screams that she's going crazy. That thing was a demon, that she's in so much pain. The MC slaps her, grabs her from behind, and hugs her, saying the punishment is over. She cries, asking if it's true. He pulls back and says he does what he says, but she needs to choose her faith. She asks what faith. He tells her to choose between believing in God or believing in him, becoming his pet, and escaping the non-stop pain. He says it while stroking the top of her head, and she trembles. Evelia has already decided. The next moment, she takes a deep breath and starts licking the protagonist's fingers. He says, "Very good, Evelia," and caresses her face. Lin Tian says that from now on he'll be her only master, and she'll be called Puppy. Evelia gets on all fours, barks, and calls the MC master. He picks her up and carries her to a well of warm water. He takes off her clothes and bathes her. The pleasure makes her say she'll do anything for him because he's good to her. He says that's perfect, and keeps bathing her. Then the protagonist says he wants to see Evelia use the Holy Light imprisonment skill. She asks what that is. After the bath, he shows her a book and she asks if the holy prison is that thing in there. Evelia focuses and starts a prayer. Her body lifts slightly as the power channels through her, and then a gigantic prison appears in front of her. The MC is impressed by her power. They walk through the tribe's prison. The captain senses them and starts yelling for Evelia to attack the MC and heal his body as fast as possible. The MC says she gave herself to him willingly. The captain doesn't believe it. She's the daughter of the leader of the Holy Church. She wouldn't give in that easily. The MC orders her to kneel and say she's doing all of this of her own free will. She obeys immediately, kneeling and smiling at him. The captain gets desperate at the sight. He leans toward the bars, smiling and drooling with hatred, saying the MC's actions will make the goblin race disappear from the world. The only purpose of the goblin's existence is to be wiped out by humans. The Holy Church would eliminate them all. Lin Tian hadn't expected Evelua's identity to be that, so he thanked the captain for the information and told the goblins to give him a hard time. He called Evelua and told her to get out of there. Now it was time to handle other business. As they left, the MC said they were going to take control of the Bloodprey tribe. At the tribe's hideout, a goblin reported to the chief that everything was ready. Trembling in fear, the chief stood and announced they would attack the tribe to the south, capture all the elves, and have fun with them. The goblins went wild, shouting about their chief's power. Then someone yelled that a goblin had broken in and was looking for the chief. The chief turned, sneering. Where did this lowly goblin come from? The MC stepped forward. He said he was a heroic-level Bloodprey goblin, with intelligence similar to humans, and he was there to talk. Some goblins muttered that he must be a mutant. He said no, he was just a bit smarter than normal goblins. But there was no time for small talk. He said he was the leader of the Mad Sky tribe, and he was taking their chief with him. The rest of them had two choices, submit or die right there. The chief asked if he was the chief of the tribe that breeds elves. The MC said his genes were good, and told him to come with him. The hero goblin called him an idiot. He shouted for him to shut up, then grabbed the protagonist's entire head with one hand and lifted him by it, sneering that he hadn't expected him to come straight to him. Once he finished off the MC, the whole tribe would be his. The goblins roared for their chief to crush him. The MC didn't even flinch. He said talking was pointless. If he didn't want to capture the living Bloodfang tribe chief, he would have already finished him. With a flipping strike, the protagonist sliced the goblin's hand off. The chief screamed in despair, crashed to the ground, clutched his arm, and ordered his underlings to destroy the protagonist. The goblins rushed in to avenge him. Lin Tian snapped his fingers. Come out now. A knife punched through a Bloodfang goblin's chest. Mad Sky goblins shimmered into view, emerging from their invisibility skill. The enemy goblins shouted, asking how they could appear without making any noise. The MC's servant answered, silent steps. Then he yelled for them to wipe out all the Blood Prey tribe goblins. That was the chief's order. Panic spread. Warrior goblins were everywhere. Everyone had walked into the MC's trap. He'd used the negotiations to keep their eyes on him and leave them exposed. The goblins were no match for the chief, so he tried to run. Even as he fled, he screamed that he had to kill the MC first, then charged back in to punch him. The MC stood with his arms crossed and only said one word, Evilea. She began casting Holy Light Prison. A glowing cage snapped into place, trapping the hero goblin. He froze, confused. It was a light spell, and goblins couldn't use light magic. Then, full of hate, he saw something that shocked him even more. Evilea knelt at the MC's feet, calling him master. He praised her, saying she was a good girl, and that she'd gotten even stronger after switching to his side. She thanked him for the praise. Time passed. The hero goblin hung chained in light magic, cursing the MC as a bastard, while Lin Tian told him to be a good breeder. Back at the tribe, the goblin chief was chained to a rock. The MC said taming him had taken a lot of work. He wiped his knife clean and said he was done. Now the chief wasn't a threat anymore. The captain was impressed they'd captured a hero goblin, and wondered how Lin Tian pulled it off. Lin Tian spoke to Lujia. He told her to let the other goblins handle the artificial insemination task. She only needed to supervise. She said she would. He handed Evilea over to Lujia and said she was under her care now. Lujia agreed. Then he told the elf queen to help him prepare, because he was going to meet a friend. She asked if it was really a friend. He said yes, an extremely important friend. Judging by Lujia's arrogance, the human forces would arrive soon, and they might not be able to face them. So it was time to visit the Dragon Mother. Dragon Island was at least 100 kilometers away, and the fastest way to get to Dragon Island was to lure a dragon over. The MC left several dead oxen on the seashore. With that much blood in the air, a dragon would show up soon. He hid inside one of the carcasses, like Luke Skywalker keeping warm on Hoth. The dragon swoops in, grabs the oxen in its claws, and takes off at full speed toward Dragon Island. When it arrives, it drops the oxen into a hole. They slam into the ground. Somehow the MC doesn't turn into ground meat from the fall. He crawls out of the carcass and realizes the dragons don't hunt just for themselves. Now he just needs to find the Dragon Mother. Something speaks from behind him about something weird mixed in with the food, and it freaks him out. A purple dragon steps forward and says she recognizes him. He was the goblin boss who attacked the Tribe of Light the other day. Why was he sneaking around on her territory? Did he think she couldn't eat him? The MC tells her to wait. He wants to propose a deal. The dragon finds that interesting. A little goblin offering her a deal, and she starts transforming into her human form. The female dragon says if it's something nice, she might decide not to eat him. He tells her she wants revenge on the Sword Saint too, so he proposes an alliance as payback for him freeing her the other day. The dragon's impressed that someone so inferior would dare go up against the Sword Saint. It makes her curious. She's almost twice his size, stands next to him, and asks how he plans to defeat that woman. He says it's simple. Send her dragons to harass the Village of Light every now and then. She asks about them. What would the goblins do? What can a bunch of little goblins do to challenge that crazy woman? What's his plan? She lifts a finger under his chin and says facing the Sword Saint head-on won't work. He says they have to attack her mind. Breaking her spirit is the best way to defeat her. The Dragon Mother laughs and says she gets it. Using the goblins to wreck things without losing any of her soldiers sounds way too perfect. The protagonist asks if they have a deal. She says yes, and admits she didn't expect to meet a goblin as clever as him. The more she looks at him, the more she likes him. She licks her lips and asks if she should give him a little reward. The MC freezes, realizing female dragons are in mating season. The Dragon Mother also realizes his body is way too small for her. Since that's the case, she'll give him another reward first. She looks ahead and asks which one she should choose. Back at the Crazy Sky tribe, Loader is crucified in the middle of the tribe, with heavily armed goblins nearby. He's been there so long and the guard still hasn't come to rescue him. If he doesn't escape soon, he's going to lose it. But he has no idea how to get out. He remembers goblins aren't very tall. If he could reach a higher spot, maybe he'd have a chance. Then he sees something that terrifies him. A dragon. A flying dragon. He screams at the goblins to let him go, fast, because he doesn't want to get burned by dragon breath. The goblins panic too. One elf asks how it got there, and another says there's someone on its back. The dragon lands in front of them all. Sitting on top is none other than the protagonist. He steps down, pulls back his hood, and says he's back. The goblins stare, stunned. He tells the dragon to rest right there and not leave. The goblins erupt, shouting that Lin Tian is way too incredible, celebrating with huge joy. Loder is dumbfounded. Is he really a goblin? He prays the Order of Knights comes to save him soon. In the City of Light, several knights approach the city center. They bow before the Sword Saint, but she says time is running out, and they shouldn't worry about formalities. It's time to put together a rescue plan as fast as possible. The system warns the MC he's entering a new storyline and has 3 options: keep killing monsters, create more goblins, or fast forward a month. He realizes the third option means the Sword Saint won't attack him during that period, so he chooses it. He'll get 20 points. The system starts speeding up time and says the corrupted forest no longer gave him any experience points. He'd gotten 20 points, and the reward was 20 times his life score. Time jumped forward by a month. The protagonist woke up and the system informed him the time skip was over. He got out of bed still thinking how weird it felt for time to just pass like that. The system congratulated him for reaching level 50 and earning a total score of 1000. His stats had risen a lot, but his overall strength hadn't. Lua burst into his room, yelling that all the newborn goblins didn't make it. It completely wrecked him. He ran out with the goblin woman. The elves were holding the babies who'd already passed on, crying over their bodies. The protagonist asked how it happened. He grabbed an elf and asked if anything had happened. She said she didn't know what went wrong. Only 3 newborns were left, and they were terribly weak. Louder started laughing, calling the goblins brainless idiots for thinking they could raise a powerful generation. The protagonist said it sounded like he knew why the newborns were lost. Louder said the higher a goblin's level, the harder it was for the pups to survive. He couldn't rule the world with a reproduction skill. The MC thanked Louder again for the valuable information, even if it came way too late. He turned his back and told the goblins he was all theirs, but they shouldn't finish him off too fast. The goblins thanked him for that. Louder yelled that he was cruel, that he'd become a vengeful spirit and never forgive him. The MC thought it was too late to raise a new generation of heroes, but they needed them to fight the Sword Saint. Without them, it would be tough. He started wondering how he could evolve the goblins quickly. Right then the dragon landed behind him. She walked up to the MC like a cat and started rubbing her head against him, and he wondered what was going on with her. The dragon was entering a transformation state while she was in heat. This situation was special for him, so she finished transforming. So that was the special situation. The gift the mother dragon had left for him. The female dragon started coming on to the MC, and he got nervous. She jumped on him, knocking Lin Tian to the ground. With a love-struck face she straddled his lap and licked her lips. The system warned that he'd unlocked a new achievement, and this time his stats increased a lot. The protagonist was recovering from the growth session he got from the dragon. She was just 1, but she was insanely fierce and thirsty. So this was the power of dragons. He'd already become kind of a hero. He could grow just by drinking her blood, but she wanted to do that with him. She showed up behind him again, even fiercer, saying she still wasn't done with him. He screamed in desperation, telling her she had things to do before coming back to him. She had to give her blood to the goblins, and then she could come back. She charged at the goblins ferociously. They got confused and panicked. It looked like she was about to chop them into little pieces. Night fell. The goblins gathered around a campfire. After drinking the dragon's blood, they'd evolved a lot, but they could evolve even more. The protagonist sat off to the side on the dragon's paws while she slept. He stared at his hands, amazed by the dragon's power. Not just him either. Every other goblin had evolved into the hero class too. Still, their overall power was a bit below what he expected. It was time to get some gear. He told the system to open the shop. While he looked through the items, he thought that as the leader of the hero tribe, he had to be strong to keep his authority. The system showed he had 180 points to spend, enough for advanced practical equipment. He spotted an elemental crossbow that absorbed elements and could fire elemental arrows. It was small, perfect for long-range attacks. He also saw a skill called Unarmed Defense, which let him parry 3 weapon attacks while unarmed. It cost 80 points. The skill was powerful, the kind that could save his life in a showdown with the Sword Saint. He decided to buy both. The system said the exchange was completed successfully, and both the item and the skill were in his inventory. The MC wondered out loud how these weapons would work in battle. He wanted to test them on someone right away. Then he saw Loder and called out to him. Loder wore a desperate look, already imagining what this was about. The protagonist told him he was the perfect candidate. Loder asked what he was going to do now, and just like that he became the first to experience how powerful Lin Tian of the heroic species was. Someone in the magic forest, a human witch, screamed for help while her companions scoffed that insignificant creatures didn't interest her. She'd rather be with the Sword Saint, hunting dragons. A third adventurer said the mother of dragons was way too big a problem anyway, and this job was easy. He finished by saying they shouldn't waste the chance Loder had given them to earn glory. The witch noticed something up ahead and warned the others. They readied for battle. A giant spider dropped in front of them, and the fight began, even though the little witch was terrified of spiders. The archer loosed a perfect shot straight into the monster's head and shrugged. It was just a level 3 bug. No need to make such a big deal out of it. The warrior told them to wait. Something else was coming. A giant goblin charged in. A heroic species one. They muttered that he looked like the leader. Pretty easy to find, actually. They tightened their grips, already celebrating an early win. Sure, the credit would be theirs. The warrior ordered the charge and told the others to cover him. As the monster let out a war roar, one of the knights asked the captain to wait, leave that one to him. They'd beaten several goblins on the way, but this would be his first heroic species kill. The captain agreed and told him to finish it quickly. The knight asked him to watch. He leveled his spear. He dropped a goblin in a single strike. Storm spear. He hurled the weapon straight at the goblin's chest, aiming for the biggest target, and shouted for it to die. Then everyone froze. The goblin caught the spear like it was nothing, and stared them down. How was that possible? The goblin drew back to throw it, and the captain shouted to activate the shield fast. The spear slammed into the center of the shield, and detonated. The blast rocked them. The shield was pierced clean through the middle. They stood stunned. It had nearly shattered from brute force alone. If it was a physical